guys, welcome back. Today I want to focus on media and uploads, storage and file management. Laravel, our lovely system, already provides us with documentation on storage and file management. It does a pretty good job of explaining the concepts. You can search for storage, file storage, and it handles most of it already, and you can set up links. You can set up different disks. For example, you can set up Amazon S3 as one of your storage, and it handles the backend for it. You can set up FTP. So let's say you're running your app on a hosting service, but you don't want to store your data on the hosting service. You can store it on S3. Does that make sense? You can also store it locally. You can do many things, but basically, today we're going to dig into our application, and instead of submit a joke or along with submit a joke, I'll add another option here that allows you to submit an image. Now, it'll be the same concept. It looks like I don't have permission to do so. Let's open up our database and go into jokes, users. It looks like our user role table. Actually, let's see what user I'm logged in as. I'm logged in as Bob. Number 1, and our user role number 1 has the role ID number 1. So technically, roles is a super admin. So I should be able to. So it looks like it's a development thing. So let's go down to create joke and let's take a look here. So if the user is an editor, so if the user has role editor, then you should be able to see this. Well, I'm a super admin, so because of that, I can't see this. So there's one of two things you can do for this. You can say, or if the user has, super admin, you can do it like this, and that'll allow you to see both. That'll allow the form to recognize you as either a super admin or an editor to see it, or you can build both of these into a single user model, so function. So for example, you could say, these are different abilities you can link together with various roles, or you can say, public function, is joke creator, for example. And then you could say, the people that can create jokes, you could say roles equals, you could say editor and super admin. And then you can just compare the roles that we have, this role to the roles that we have here. So you could say, for each roles as role, and then you can say has role. So if has role, so we'll say this has role like this, and you can return true. So what I'm doing here is saying basically create a new function that checks for is Joe creator, and then it'll loop through editor, super admin, and if I have one of those roles, it'll say yes you do, and then it'll work. The problem with this is it doesn't quite work. Well, supra. It works, but it won't quite be as efficient as we would want it to. So we need to improve this. So this would basically mean we're going to hit the database that many times. So we could do one of two things. We can either pass multiple roles in here and handle it on the create joke side on the front end, meaning you can say You could pass as many array items as you want here, and basically do the same concept. Or what I recommend is probably to store this dot role into some form of a session so that we can invoke the session. So let's do that. So let's enhance our session functionality a little bit. We can do potentially a private function. So let's just start out with a private function. A private function basically means it's going to stay within the user class and it won't go outside of it. So here we'll say, user roles. We'll just go like this, and we'll slug to array. Let's think about the best way to do this. Has role, so it comes into here. We might not need a private function. Let's do it without. Let's convert this to role equals, and then we'll return roles. And then prior to actually doing a lookup into the database, this is doing a query, we'll first check to see if that role already exists. So we can do session, it would be session get, is it session like this? Probably. We'll say user roles. Say if session get user roles will return session get user roles. Else we'll take this, we'll do our query, and we'll store into session. We'll say session put roles. So we'll say user roles this way. So basically, if the session contains user roles, then just return those roles. Otherwise, do a query and pull the roles from the query. Okay. So what I was doing wrong here is I wasn't saving the session, which is kind of new, I think, in Laravel. It wasn't like this before. I used to be able to just save the session. I think in Laravel 5.5, for example, I used to be able just to get and put the key in. There was no such thing as save. Now it looks like it has. Now it looks like it has the ability to save. So there we go. So if has, let's do it like this now. Let's rebuild this function. Now that we know what we're doing, I'm going to remove the session facade and just use the session function that we have. And I'll basically say, down here I'll say if session has user roles, then return local and return the session get user roles. Else, you can even do, it doesn't even matter here, otherwise, go fetch it from the database, and then session, I'm going to use the function, session put this, just like we did up here, except now we'll also save that. Everything else is not needed here. So just to give you a good idea, this is what happened. There's a database call. I'm going to erase these as soon as I confirm that I'm doing the local versus database properly. So let's take a look here. We got submit. Looks like it's a DB call. Refresh. And the next time you go to it, it's going to be a local call. And from now on, as long as I'm logged in, it'll pull my local session data and it won't hit a database again until I have to log back in. Now, how do you deal with users that, maybe change their roles? Well, in that case, you can either instruct them to log out and log back in, or you can somehow if they end up on a 404 page or not allowed page, you can somehow reset their role session. But basically that's it. So now you can use this safely and loop through, because now it's actually communicating with the session data, not the database. So you're not hitting the database 100 times. So now that we got that out of the way, everything's good. We need to modify, we need to use isJoke_creator. So on the create joke, we'll say auth user isJoke_creator, like this. And now you can basically access the joke creation parts of the site. So I used the function that I created, placed it in the model, and now I am a joke creator. So, okay, so the next thing, let's add a picture to our jokes to make things a little funnier. To do that, I think we can add a new area here where we can add a picture. And I'm thinking we can basically copy the same functionality that we have here for the form, except here we'll say joke image, and then here we'll say image, and instead of using a text area, we can use an input field, and we can ID this as an image, and we can say type, it's going to be a file, name, it's going to be image, and then class we can say btn default. Actually btn success will work for us. It'll look kind of nice. No, maybe info's okay. So coming back here, we'll refresh this page and click this bad boy, and you can see here we can add an image. So right now you can select the picture, you can select any one of these beautiful girl pictures, and you click this and hit open, and it'll just put that in. It's a very rudimentary implementation of joke submission. However, image file upload. So this is going to be our first step to get this working right. Now we can't submit this quite yet. We have to modify our custom JS file. So go to public JS custom, and we have to modify our submit joke form that we submitted with Ajax. So we used asynchronous submission here. So for now, I think we can just comment this out for a while we work on the new one. So with the new one, we need a little more advanced functionality, and I kind of have something here that I could just paste in here. Basically, the concept is we'll create a new form data object. To that object, we'll append an image, which we'll get it from the image ID, and we'll get the rest of our information, and we'll submit it to the same location that we were submitting it before, and then on success, we'll need to do the same items that we have here as well. So if response success, we'll just say it like this. You can actually even do, instead of on success here, you can do failed or whatever. So there we go. Just like that. So I copied this off of a site. I think it'll work for us. It'll give us a good head start. So Ajax, so Post is like shorthand version of Ajax. And Ajax, as the jQuery function, basically has a lot more processing power for us, or more configuration, I guess. So I switched over to using Ajax so that we can do file uploads for this one. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to refresh this page. I'll hit submit a joke. I'll give this, my picture, nice. And I'll select this one. I'll say OK, and I'll inspect element, coming down to network, and I'll hit save. I'll click this guy. There is an error, but I'm not too concerned about the error yet. Let's look at the headers, scroll down and see. It looks like we have the image, the description. The title, however, is undefined. So we are missing a title. So if you come down here, looks like I used underscore here, so we'll need to fix this. It's important to double check your work. Make sure that you're getting all the right items that you need to get. So it looks like ID is hyphenated and description is hyphenated. The image doesn't have anything. It should really say joke image right here, but I think we're okay right now. So yeah, okay. So we're good to go. So once again, refresh, submit a joke. We'll say, I guess we could say picture, and I could say nice, choose a file, select the file I like, hit go, and now scrolling down, you can see it says nice, picture, and its binary code is getting sent. And here's our response. It says Symfony kernel exception 204. Basically, it's not able to handle this request. So coming down here, this is a post request, and let's look at our route. So right here, come down to routes, web, create joke, and submit joke as a post request as well, and it goes to store. So jokes store right here is where we're storing our joke. So we need to pick this up now, and let's check right here real fast. Submit, response, same response, route, 204, header, unknown status. This usually, oh, that's what it is. So I think the one thing that we're missing right here is the actual token file, which is pretty normal. So we have our CSRF token. So before we were just serializing the array, and now we're manually building this. So we have to ID that token in a manner. So I think the token itself, if you right click this and hit inspect, you can identify the token is right here. So you could just find token, but this page actually contains, if you view page source, Laravel already has the token for you in the header information, I think. Or no, the original Laravel instance did, which I think I might have, did I preserve that one? App template, theme plate, there it is right there. So right here you can actually have the cross-site request token, and we can place it in the theme blade right here as well, so that we can reuse this. And you can obviously ID this, you know, let's see if I have a token like this. Actually, I don't know if this will work, but we can try it. So here, CSR token, and instead of getting the, this time we'll get attribute content. So here, ATTR and content. So now we just need to add a token. So passing a token is required in Laravel. I mean, I'm sure you can get around it, but it's required. So you'll hit submit, fill this out, click this, select save your network, that's okay. And it looks like there's an error. That's okay. It says joke title cannot be null. So that's surprising to me. Looks like I have joke title right there. I have the token, I have the image and description. So the response is a little bit confusing to me. Column joke title cannot be null. That's okay. Let's identify the issue. So let's go to jokes controller, and it says here joke content joke title. So here I have underscore joke title, and there I have hyphenated. So for my description, it's like this, and that'll fix it. So again, refresh, let it submit, choose, and go. And it looks like it says there's an error, but joke, oh, it's not joke content, is it? I actually called it joke content on the other side. Okay, I guess we'll change this to joke content. That's joke title. Is joke title accurate? It is. There we go. So this has to match your database entries, and these guys have to match your form keys. You could probably line them up so they're perfectly equal, but I personally don't. There's arguments for both, I think. So let's hit that, hit go, pending, and success. So it looks like it stored it, but really what we're looking for now is to open up that file itself. So I think we can identify it here. So what I want to do is now is return response, and I'll say JSON, and I'm going to return the entire request back to me so that I could figure out where that file is, which I think since it's a binary, I technically already kind of know, but I want to show you what it looks like. I probably didn't need to refresh. So here I'll just create this really fast and hit go, and the response will be like this. Image is empty. And that's most likely because it's just a full request. So we just converted it to a JSON object. So here, let's see if we can print. Can we do this print? Let's say files. Let's try files. And go. And here we go. So we have some information about the file. So we know the name of the file. We know the object itself and what it is. So we have a lot of information about the file. So we can look at the Laravel filebag. And it basically tells you, so if you dump this just like I do, it shows you that, and then you could say this would be your file, the file that we're looking for, which is whatever, and then how you move it. So this is basically what we need to do with it. So we have file, and I think this was image, and then from file we can say oh, this is my image, and then we can move it to whatever the destination path is. Actually, I do want to return a response. I guess I could just return a file. I just want to see kind of what object it gives us here for the file itself. Okay. Oh well. Response JSON. Save. Got nothing on the file. Is it files? Let's take a look at this really fast. Let's look at Laravel's file photo. There it is. Move. That's exactly what. Let's take a look at Laravel 5.8. See what they say about files. Files. Request file photo. Well, you could actually do it like this too. This would be image, and then has file photo is valid, and the photo path, and the photo extension. So it has quite a bit of information about that photo. So you could say path, for example. Let's see if it gives us the path here. oh, it's not photo, it's I think it was media. Was it media? Let's take a look here. We don't need this. Great joke. It's called image. Ooh, why did I call it media? There we go. Save, and here's our file path. And I think we can get more information about that file by pulling from, sorry I'm jumping around so much, but here's the extension. I'll get more information about that photo. Store images, images S3. So actually, you can store the uploaded files simply by saying store images like this. So that photo can be stored the same way. And you can actually store it as a different name. So let's do that. I don't want it to be the same name, so I'm going to say StoreAs. Let's say request image. We'll say StoreAs. Well, actually, here, yeah, StoreAs inside of the folder images, which I actually don't have images, so I think it's going to go to the public folder images. Or it might go to the storage folder. So let's see where it actually stores it. Most likely it'll probably be here. Images, and here I'll have to name it something else. Extension path. Store as. Let's give this a shot. Actually, I haven't done this one specifically, but I'd love to see what it does here. It looks like our permissions don't allow us to move it, but I really think it's the new StoreAs feature. I don't think it works well. So instead, I think I want to use the move one. So instead of StoreAs, we'll just move it. So let's cut this out. I don't think it's going to work for us. So we'll say request file image move. This is going to be our destination, and this is going to be our new file name. So here we'll say test.jpg, just like what we were doing. And our destination path could be public dot. I think we made a folder called uploads, like that. And we don't need this anymore, or this, or this. And now let's give this a try, see kind of where we land. Looks like the file, this file exceeds your upload max file size INI directive. So this basically means that in your PHP INI file, you're not allowed to upload files more than 2 megabytes. So to fix that, you can open up tools and you can go to, I think it's, no, not tools. You click on this, you hit WAMP, you go to PHP and PHP INI, and then you find the 2 MB. Okay, maybe it's 2M. There we go. So file upload size, so we can change this to, let's say, my images can be up to 15 megabytes. So then you can save this, and you can click this guy, PHP. I think you might even be able to restart all services. You will have to end this, and then as soon as that service is back up, you can start this back up. Give this a second. Here we go. We'll hit go now. Now we'll hit save, and let's see what other new fantastic errors we get. It looks like we still have that same issue. It might be because I've already opened this, so I might have to close this out. Cancel. So close this, reopen this. This will reinitialize PHP, cwamp, I think it'll be jokes, artisan serve, and then let's give this bad boy a shot again. C0 upload max files INI directive. We can actually change this. So if it's a PHP upload max size, we can say init set right here and 10 megabytes. I think this will work. In that case, we'll need to mess with. It doesn't seem like my PHP is allowing it. Oh, I think it could be file, system file, database. Perhaps we're setting it elsewhere. App, maybe? No, I doubt that. If it was anywhere, it'd be in file systems, and normally it doesn't look like. So it's probably an issue with our WAMP. I could end it all and start it back up, which should start. Okay, let's do. I guess we can do it. Let's try it one more time. So I've already changed it. Actually, see php-ini, and it tells you where your PHP ini file is. So here you could say so this will be C, I'll go WAMP, and then bin, PHP, PHP 7.2, and then there's a PHP ini file right there. Edit this. Find 2M. Yep, looks like I was editing the wrong one. Save this. Then you can start up WAMP again. I know this feels hard and a lot of work, but this is the way to do it. It's the only, you have to edit this stuff. You don't have much of a choice. So there you go. Started it up again. I'm not quite sure if I have to restart my, looks like everything's okay, and T. So now, if we look at the public uploads folder, which I think you can refresh somewhere. Is there a refresh? No, there isn't. Jump to source. Public uploads, and it's not there. Storage, not there. I think it actually puts it into storage, app, uploads. It's not there either. So it doesn't look like it actually uploaded it anywhere specifically. Back here, we don't need to do this anymore. This is flat. Maybe it couldn't find this. Let's try this. Save. No issues there. And looks like there it is, flat. Double click this, and there's our picture. Alright, so what did we discover? We discovered that Laravel's version of save2 doesn't work properly, but move works just fine. I moved it to the public folder. There's a few places you can move it. You can move it to the storage path. You can move it to app path. No, that's a public path. Oh, sorry. There you go. You can move it to the public path. You can move it to app. There's app path. So there's quite a bit of places you can move this file. So right now Laravel kind of takes care of this for you. So before we do this though, um, we can't just move it right to where we need to move it right away without saving it into a database, because the link is actually disconnected. So we have a file that's going to get uploaded, so we can give it some kind of a unique hash. So let's say like ID equals unique, and then we could say MD. So we'll give it like we can say image name equals MD5 unique, and then I'm going to actually save this. So file name, and then you can get all the information you need. So this is the original name, and then this could be the original extension, right? And then this can be the MIME type. So here you can say like name equals ext equals, and then here you could say MIME type equals. I could just say MIME like that. And then this unique name I like to put on the actual file, or at least append it. Maybe not even MD5, but it's kind of nice to have these stored well, and then the database. I've done this in a couple of different ways before, but I think, and also you don't have to keep doing it like this. So you can say like if request has file image. So you can do all this with an image, and then you could say IM equals. So then you could just use this way. Cleans up your code just a little bit. You don't have to keep retyping all that. So you can say IM move, and you can get all this information from the original, like so. Actually, probably should go a little longer. There we go. And then the name can go here. The problem with using just the name is if I upload a file called vlad.jpg and somebody else does too, his will overwrite mine. So you don't want to do that. So you either want to save it into new unique locations, or you want to, you know, append them with some form of string. So what I like to do is I don't actually use the name, although you can, but you can even go as far as just using some kind of a unique hash. So here underscore dot hash. So this could be like not a hash, like MD5, I guess, like that. So there you go. So now you have the name and MD5, and then now you have a pretty unique file. Like it's going to be unique. It's MD5, and you can actually even MD5 the name along with this, so that it would be kind of impossible to get, you know. So right below here, you could just use a new name like this, like that. So now it'll just MD5 hash that whole thing. But you still need the extension, so you still need to do .ext so that it still opens, just like that. And then MIME type we'll use here in a little bit. So the one thing though is we don't actually, so let's actually try this really fast, and then I'll show you. Let's make sure that this works properly. So let's open this up, come over here, save, come over here, everything's a success, And here it is. So see how it says this is the MD5 cache and that's JPEG. So this is a problem because we actually did not store the period here. So there we go. So now the JPEG will work properly. Save and come over here. Joke title can't be null, of course, because it's the first time it's submitted. So go like this, and save. If you look over here, success, come back over here, and look, it says vlad.jpg. Perfect. So actually, this is actually the, instead of Vlad, it has the entire MD5. So even if you upload it a few times, it'll be different each time. So now we have a cool name. So we can actually store now the image along with it. The problem is we don't have a spot in our database to actually accept an image. So we need to do what's called create a migration. So we'll do PHP artisan make migration, add image column to joke, like that. So then you'll come back over here, open up the database, and you can see jokes right here, and you can say, the way that I wrote this pretty much automatically did that for me. See, I said add image column to jokes, and it figured it out just by the way that I wrote it. It recognized that that's what I'm trying to do. So here I could say table, basically I'm adding a column, but you can just say string. In this case it'll be string, and we'll say image. And we already know kind of the size of the image, but sometimes these images are quite big, but we do need to max out how many characters they can have. Image, and then we can say image type would be the next one. And then what else do we need to store? We have the image type, and then you could say like image name. So this could be image URL, this could be image type, this could be image name, and then the type kind of tells us the MIME type. I don't know if we need to do anything else. So here we have drop column. So if you create a column, and you want to undo it using the terminal, then you'll have to create the reverse migration code too. So if you're adding one, you need to remove one. So the image URL, type, and name. And I like to put these, so here let's say after image URL, like that. And then I like to also say that it's nullable. This is important because it'll actually stop, if you don't do this, it'll stop your database from submitting. So we have jokes, so it's joke content. So after maybe after joke content, it's a good spot. So the first one's going to be after joke content, the second one's going to be after image URL, and the third one's going to be after type, just like that. So now we can run the migration. So we'll say PHP artisan migrate. And if you come over here to the database and hit refresh, wherever that is, there you go. You can see there's image URL, image type, and image name. So now we need to link up, now that we have a database, on new joke creation, now we can do 1, 2, 3. So we have image, name, I think. What are the options here? I just wrote them. So image URL. The first one's image, well actually it's right here. Image URL, which is the name, like that. And then the second one is image type, which is our MIME type. And then finally we have image names. This is the, I think, the original name. So it's going to be original name. Actually, the new name is this one. So new name for image URL. So there we go. So now, when you create a new joke, it'll add these items. Now, what happens if you don't have anything, right? You don't have this file. Well, we need to watch out for that because sometimes jokes come in without files, so we have to do something like this. So basically saying, hey, if there isn't anything here, then don't include it in this submission. Otherwise, it'll just submit a bunch of null values, which are okay too, but not recommended. So there we go. Let's see how it works. Refresh. Oops, let's launch our server, PHP, artisan serve, like that. And refresh. Submit. This could be my image. Such a good image. We'll select, let's say, this one and save. And joke successfully saved. And we're looking for this new one that came up here, hopefully. Scroll down right there. Actually, let's look in the database. Jokes, data. Let's look at the latest one. This is my image. It has the image URL right there. Then it has the image type and the original image name and who uploaded it. So we have all this data right there. And this is right here. So now, how do you display it? So the final step is to actually pull that information. Now we stored it in the public location, so it's publicly accessible. So all we need to do is on our I think it's in our dashboard, or I guess it would be both places here. Let's start with here in the home directory, so we can minimize this. In the resources, views, layouts, nope, in the home directory, right where we have joke content, we also need to show an image. So we'll show the image right here. So luckily we already have this guy, so all we need to do here is just to say image as source, and then we can say asset, and it already goes to the public location, and then we'll say uploads like this, slash, period, and then joke image URL like this. Now, what if there isn't an image? All we have to do is say add if image at end if. So now, if there isn't an image, it won't try to load the image. Otherwise, there it is. We can also add alternate text. We'll say alt equals, and then we can actually label it whatever we want, but in this case I think we're okay the way it is, just like this. So refresh, and we really need to slow down all at the bottom, and look, there's our picture, huge picture. Let's also add some style to this, so we'll say style with 100%. There we go. So now you have my image, you have the image that gets loaded, and then the sub description underneath, just like that. Now we have a lot of random crap here, so you have to scroll pretty far to see this image. So might need to clean that up later, but for now, let's go to the welcome page. And now this one shows up first because it's in reverse order. So let's actually put the images here. So same thing, we'll copy this. We'll go to the welcome page. And right in the card body, we'll paste the same exact thing that we did there. And if you refresh, you should see the image load there as well. Granted, this isn't yet optimized because this is actually the full image. So if you right click this and go to elements right here, you can see that the actual full image is 6,475 by 4,300, and I'm trying to show it at 768 by 512. So you'll need to load a thumbnail type module in order to shrink these pictures up so they load a lot quicker. But yeah, there you go. That's how to add pictures and display them. Let's try a couple more. So we'll submit a joke. We'll say another image, another one, black and white, let's say. Choose an image. We'll go to black and white, open, save. And then you can come over here, scroll all the way down, and boom. Oh, look at that. So why is this one missing an image? Well, this one actually gets loaded asynchronously, this little card. So we have to catch this in the JavaScript and load it. Maybe that will tackle another night. But if you refresh it, it'll load. And then also, if you go to homepage, you should see both of them in the most recent one on top, just like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little more complex, a little bit all over the place, but the issue was I'm working with the latest Laravel 5.8 right now, and some of the functions don't actually work with, for example, my Windows machine. So I had to, use an older one or use a different one, and this happens, and you might have to pull your hair out a couple of times. It is frustrating, but that's part of it. I still stayed within the Laravel theme. I didn't do anything special. Look how simple this code is. So I'd like you to still continue to do that, to find solutions within Laravel before you go and load some library or go and write some obscure code to make this work. Try it with Laravel first. Look around their site, downgrade a couple of versions, identify your problems that way. Anyways, I hope you liked today's video. Stay tuned for more.